Empty or not, she was in an airport. There had to be at least one hotel within walking distance, even in a weird country town. She exited through the glass doors and crossed the pickup lane. There was nothing beyond the parking lot. No sign of a hotel, motel, or even a shack promising a cheap bed and breakfast. Nothing but darkness, and some darker hint of trees far on the horizon. The parking lot was just as vacant. Her fellow passengers' rides must have arrived before the plane landed, ready to pick up as soon as they exited the building. Final landing of the day, the airport staff had all apparently taken off as well. Well, maybe not all of them. She spotted a white van in the farthest corner of the lot. Bright white, as if it were covered in a layer of fresh snow. Its windows were as black as a snowman's coal eyes. The impression of snow in the middle of June. Something was off, and she trusted her intuition. Someone was still around, maybe close by. Maybe in the vehicle, preparing to start it up, ready to leave. But there'd be no approaching the vehicle asking for a lift. She knew her horror movie scenarios. She backed up a few steps before doing a 180 back through the glass doors. Best to stay in a well-lit building. She snatched up a map as she passed by the car rental desk, wondering just why all of the airport's lights were still on and all the doors unlocked, as if it were just past noon rather than just past midnight. She picked up the desk's blue phone while gazing at the cab advertisements on the back of the folded map. No dial tone. She figured it was too much to ask that everything be working at this hour. Anyway, calling at this point seemed far more trouble than it was worth. Trying to stay awake while the cab arrived, then trusting it to take her to a decent motel without running up the meter. She'd have been more inclined if she could trust her smartphone to stay up with her through all that. But she'd realized when boarding the plane that her phone was almost out of juice. Turning it on now and keeping it on until the cab arrived would kill it. Of course, she'd had the brilliant foresight to pack the charger with the other non-essentials in her lost luggage. She left the desk, unfolding the map as she wandered. It seemed she hadn't been too far off, considering this area the middle of wherever. The map showed only the airport at its center, with nothing but an open field surrounding it. At the far edges were the trees she thought she'd made out in the dark. The map had no scale or anything else useful to determine the distance from the airport to the trees. It didn't matter to her. In the morning, she'd be driving through it, not walking it, even if the map oddly showed no roads or paths. She looked up from the map and spotted a ladies' room. No sense in waiting till sunrise to wash traveler's grime off her face. Something also had to be done with what was left of her late-night burger and fries. She checked 3 stalls before finding one with toilet paper, hung her bag on the door's hook, and then sat down with a sigh. She'd get some shut-eye on the bench in the baggage claim area. It was barely even comfortable to sit on, but when the car rental desk opened at 6, she'd be in a prime position to get what she needed and get the hell out of there. Her performance started at 8. The location she'd been given surely couldn't be that far away. She sighed again as she wiped and pulled up her jeans. She'd a funny feeling in her stomach. It never failed. Dropping a little load always made her a little hungry. During her earlier mad dash, she'd noticed a vending machine upstairs, one containing nuts and dried fruit, in addition to the usual cavity creators. She'd swing by on her way to the bench. She flushed, grabbed her bag, and opened the stall door. A man stood mere feet away, staring back at her.